All right, so we're diving into Denise Shull's market mind games today.
Okay.
And wow, this whole idea of like mastering your inner market to make smarter trades,
Mhm.
it's really got me thinking, because I get how emotions can just totally mess up my trading,
Yeah,
but using them to my advantage, I mean, that's just crazy.
it is. And Scholl basically says we need to change how we think about emotions when it comes to trading.
Okay.
Like instead of seeing them as this like enemy that we need to shut down,
Right.
she said they can actually give us some really good information,
Interesting.
especially when it comes to risk and opportunity.
Okay, I'm with you so far, but how does that work in practice? Like, I know when I'm feeling anxious about a trade, but turning that anxiety into some kind of market signal, I
Yeah.
mean, that seems kind of out there.
Well, think of it this way. Those gut feelings you get, they're not just random.
Okay.
They're actually connected to what's happening in your brain.
Oh, interesting.
So like your amygdala, that's like the alarm system in your brain,
Yeah.
it goes off whenever it senses any kind of threat.
Oh, okay.
But then you've got your prefrontal cortex, which is the more logical part,
Well,
and it's trying to like, assess everything and make a rational decision.
so it's like my brain is arguing with itself.
Exactly. And all those emotions you're feeling, that's like the byproduct of that whole internal debate.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense.
And imagine you're watching a stock, right?
Yeah,
And all of a sudden you just get hit with this wave of anxiety.
been there.
Instead of just panicking and selling,
Yeah.
what if you just took a second
Okay.
and asked yourself, okay, what's making me feel this way? Is it like a real fear based on something I'm seeing, or am I just like overreacting?
That's a really good point. So how do I get better at recognizing those different, like, I don't know, emotional flavors,
Yeah.
especially when things are moving so fast? I mean, I've tried journaling before, but it always felt kind of surface level.
Well, that's where building what Shull calls an emotional taxonomy comes in.
Emotional taxonomy.
Yeah. It's about being able to really pinpoint exactly what you're feeling and what kind of fear is behind your actions. So, like, let's say you're feeling fear, right?
Okay.
Is it the fear that the market's going to suddenly drop, like your amygdala's screaming danger?
Right.
Or is it the fear that you're going to miss out on some big opportunity?
Yeah, FOMO.
Exactly. But recognizing that difference can totally change how you approach the situation.
Oh, okay, I see that. But like in the heat of the moment,
Hmm.
isn't it hard to like analyze your emotions like that? It's like I need to make a decision now,
Right.
not sit there and dissect my feelings.
It definitely takes practice, and that's where your trading journal can really help.
Okay.
But instead of just writing down your trades, use it to track how you're feeling at different points.
Like when?
So before you make the trade, ask yourself, okay, what am I feeling? What's my gut telling me right now?
Got it.
Then during the trade, how am I reacting to what the market's doing?
Can-
And after the trade, what emotions did I experience? Did I overreact? Did I make the right call based on what I knew at the time?
So it's like I'm creating this feedback loop almost,
Yeah,
learning from every trade, not just the outcome.
exactly. And the more you do this, the more you'll start to see these patterns in your own behavior, like
Yeah.
those little emotional quirks that can either make you or break you as a trader.
Oh, for sure.
Like you might realize that every time you have a winning streak, you start getting a little too confident and taking unnecessary risks.
Oh, yeah, definitely been there.
So knowing that about yourself, what can you actually do to avoid falling into those traps?
That's the question, isn't it?
Well, first you have to admit that we all have these psychological weaknesses,
Mm-hmm.
things Scholl calls trading traps.
Trading traps.
Fear, greed, overconfidence, they can really mess up even the most experienced trader.
Yeah, that's true.
And Market Mind Games is full of stories about how these traps play out in real life.
Ooh, like what?
Well, there's one about this trader who realized that he would get super anxious right before the market was about to make a big move.
Really?
Yeah, but at first, he saw it as a bad thing, something to ignore.
Oh, I see.
But then as he started paying more attention, he realized it wasn't anxiety, it was intuition. And it was actually giving him an edge.
Wow. Talk about turning a weakness into a strength.
Right. And that's what's so important here. The goal isn't to become some kind of emotionless robot,
Yeah.
which is impossible, but to build resilience.
Resilience.
Yeah, Shull says you got to create this mindset where you're aware of your emotions, you understand them,
Uh-huh.
and then you figure out how to use them to your advantage.
Okay, so how do I actually build that kind of resilient trader mindset?
Yeah.
Is it all like meditation and positive affirmations and stuff?
It's more about having different tools that you can use.
Okay.
Like one thing is mental rehearsal,
Mental rehearsal.
where you visualize different trading scenarios.
Oh, Okay.
Not just the good ones, but the bad ones too.
So, like, what would I do if the market suddenly crashed?
Exactly. Or what if a trade goes against you, even though you did all your research?
Oh, that's a good one.
You're basically practicing how to react emotionally.
So practice makes perfect, even for my emotions.
Exactly. And just like with physical training, consistency is key.
Mm-hmm.
The more you practice, the more automatic those calm and rational responses become.
That makes sense.
And don't forget about things like mindfulness practices too,
Oh, right.
like meditation, or even just taking a few deep breaths before you make a trade.
Yeah, I can see that helping.
It can really help you stay grounded and focused, especially when the market's going crazy.
For sure, because when I get stressed, my trading usually suffers.
And remember what we talked about before, how physical fitness can impact your mental clarity.
Right, like exercise and sleep.
Exactly. Don't underestimate how important it is to take care of yourself.
So it's all connected.
It's all part of a holistic approach.
I like that.
It's not just about charts and numbers. It's about understanding the human element,
Mm-hmm.
both in the market and within yourself.
This is really making me rethink my whole trading game. But how do I actually put all of this into practice?
Right.
Like, how do I take all these psychological insights and integrate them with my actual trading strategy?
Well, that's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And in the next part, we'll unpack some of the strategies that Shull recommends
Yeah.
for actually turning emotional intelligence into actionable trading decisions.
Sounds good. I can't wait.
So it's called, you have all these great insights about yourself,
Uh-huh.
but then it's like, okay, now what?
Right, right.
Shull really emphasizes that just understanding your emotions, that's only the first part.
Gotcha.
The real magic happens when you actually use that to change your trading strategy.
So it's not about getting rid of my current strategy, but like adding this whole psychological layer to it.
Right, exactly.
Okay, because I'm all for this emotional intelligence stuff.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I still need to make money, right?
Of course, of course. You're not throwing out all your technical analysis or your risk management.
Right.
It's more like fine-tuning everything.
Okay.
So for example, let's say you've been tracking your emotions in your journal
Mm-hmm.
and you notice this pattern.
Okay.
Like maybe every time you have a few winning trades in a row,
Yeah.
you get a little overconfident, maybe a little impulsive.
Oh, yeah. I think I see where you're going with this.
Knowing that about yourself, you can build in some safeguards.
Okay.
Like maybe you set stricter risk limits after a win.
That's smart.
Or you could even like step away from trading for a bit.
Oh, to avoid making any rash decisions?
Exactly.
So I'm basically using my emotional awareness to like predict my own mistakes
Yeah.
and then coming up with the plan to prevent them.
It's all about playing to your strengths and, working around your weaknesses.
That's brilliant.
And this is where Shull's idea of the emotionally intelligent trader comes in.
Emotionally intelligent trader.
Yeah, it's someone who not only understands their emotions, but knows how to use them to make better decisions.
I like that. I like that a lot. But to be honest with you, the whole idea of becoming this like Zen master trader,
Yeah.
emotionally balanced all the time,
Uh.
it still seems kind of far-fetched.
Well, it's not about having zero emotions. That's just not realistic.
Right.
It's more about developing what she calls this like market mind
Market mind.
that can handle all the crazy ups and downs of the market.
Okay, so what are some things I can do to develop that kind of market mind?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about mental rehearsal before.
Yeah.
Are there other things I can do to build that kind of resilience?
Mental rehearsal is definitely a big one.
Okay.
Picture yourself going through different trading scenarios.
Yeah.
And, not just the wins, the tough losses, too.
Right, right.
Like, how would you react if the market suddenly dropped?
Yeah.
Or what if a trade goes against you, even though you did all your research?
Ooh, that's a good one.
You're essentially training your emotional responses.
So it's like practice makes perfect, even for my emotions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like training for a marathon, but for your brain.
I like that analogy.
And just like with physical training, you have to be consistent.
Yeah.
The more you practice, the more automatic those calm, rational responses become.
Okay, that makes sense.
And don't underestimate things like mindfulness either.
Mindfulness, like meditation.
Yeah, meditation, or even just taking a few deep breaths before you make a trade.
Right, just to center yourself.
It can help you stay grounded and focused even when everything's going
That's
crazy.
for sure, because when I get stressed out, my trading definitely suffers.
And remember what we talked about earlier, how taking care of your physical health
Yeah,
can really help with mental clarity.
right, right.
Don't underestimate the power of exercise, sleep, good food.
Yeah, all that good stuff.
They all contribute to a more balanced emotional state.
Okay, I'm starting to see the big picture here.
Yeah.
It's not just about knowing when to buy or sell. It's about managing my energy, my mindset, my whole approach.
Exactly. Trading isn't just about the numbers. It's a mind game.
Mm-hmm.
And when you master your market mind, you can really get ahead.
Okay.
One of the biggest takeaways from market mind games is that we're not actually trading the market.
Oh, which
We're trading our own psychology.
Whoa, okay, that's deep.
So the real challenge isn't predicting the market, it's predicting yourself.
Wow, I've never thought about it like that before.
Once you realize that you're not fighting the market,
Uh-huh.
but your own biases and emotions,
Right.
that's a huge step towards becoming a better trader.
This has been so eye-opening. I feel like I'm finally starting to understand this whole trading psychology thing.
That's great.
But before we move on, is there one final thought from the book
Yeah.
that you think our listeners should really remember?
There's this one quote that I think sums it up perfectly.
Okay.
It says, "When it becomes clear that we never trade the markets, but instead trade our own psychology, we have achieved a critical insight."
I love that. So to all our listeners out there,
Yes.
the next time you're about to buy or sell, just take a second to check in with yourself.
Yeah.
What are you feeling? What's really behind your decision?
Right.
The answers might surprise you.
They might.
And they could lead you to a much better trade. This is really making me think differently about trading, you know? It's not just about the numbers.
It's not.
It's this whole other level of understanding yourself and honestly mastering this market mind.
Right.
Feels like it's a journey.
It is.
It's not like I can just read this book and suddenly I'm this perfect trader.
Yeah, it's not a one-time thing. It's ongoing.
Exactly. So where do I even start? I mean, besides reading Market Mind Games, obviously,
Sure.
what would you recommend for someone who really wants to go deeper with this?
One of the best things you can do is actually connect with other traders
Oh,
who
interesting.
are kind of on the same path as you.
Okay.
Find a community, whether it's like an online forum or a local group, or even just some friends who are interested in this stuff.
I can see that.
Sharing your experiences and what you're learning, even your struggles.
Yeah.
It can make a huge difference.
It can be pretty lonely sometimes, you know? Just trying to figure this all out on your own.
Yeah, especially this emotional intelligence part.
Exactly. So having people to talk to who get it would be huge.
And don't forget about mentorship.
Oh, right.
Finding someone who's been there, who's gone through this process themselves.
Yeah.
They can give you some really valuable guidance.
Okay, find a community, get a mentor. What else? Any practical tips for someone who's just starting out with this whole inner market thing?
Just remember that self-awareness is key.
Mm-hmm.
Start paying attention to how you feel throughout the day when you're trading.
Like what specifically?
What makes you feel scared or greedy? When do you feel the most confident?
Oh,
The
yeah.
more you know about your own patterns, the better you'll be able to handle things.
So it's like being a detective of my own mind.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to try different things. Different techniques for managing those emotions.
Like what?
You know, mindfulness practices, mental rehearsal, or even just taking a break if you're feeling overwhelmed.
Right, step away.
Find what works for you
Okay.
and keep refining your approach.
This has been amazing, really eye-opening.
Glad to hear it.
I feel like I'm finally starting to understand this whole mental game of trading,
That's great.
and I'm definitely going to keep exploring this market mind thing.
Good.
Any final words of wisdom before we wrap up?
Just remember, trading is more than just charts and numbers.
Right.
It's about the human element in you and in the market.
Hmm.
When we learn to control our emotions instead of letting them control us,
Yeah.
that's when we can really achieve success.
Beautifully said. I think that's a perfect way to end this.
Okay.
To everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into trading psychology.
Yes. Thanks for listening.
And remember, the next time you're about to trade, take a moment to check in with yourself.
That's-
How are you feeling? What's driving your decision? The answer might surprise you,
It might.
and it could lead to a much better trade.
Absolutely.
Happy trading, everyone!